So to me, I would assume that Jesse Sr. took Jesse Jr. down there to Weather Wire, like father, like son.
I mean, and I like Junior. I like Sandy. And the last time I saw Sandy Jackson and Jesse Jackson Jr., they were going inside the Peninsula Hotel. I'm driving around, right? Now, most people don't know what the Peninsula Hotel is, where it is, and what it's all about. So it's the best hotel, one of the finest hotels in the city. All the movie stars and rappers, I mean, I can name names. They go to the Peninsula. And I think a lot of bourgeois Negroes, I seen them in front of the Peninsula, right? But most, and I'm not saying that wrong going to Peninsula. I've only been inside a couple of times. It is nice. But the point is that people understand there's a game being played. Because most of us don't, we're not a part of that world, but the Peninsula world, the top hotels, the best and brightest. We're not, so we little people need to really wake up and say, okay, we're gonna continue to make 40 grand or 20 grand a year, but we could have a better life in the hood if we understood what was going on. I got to take another phone. Bill, you got a phone call on? We got like 20 minutes left. No calls, Bill?
Hello.
Good morning.
What's up?
What's up? What's up?
All right. I just want to say shalom. I appreciate the things and the knowledge that Mr. Davis has given. I, too, am aware of a lot of different things, like people being pawns, a lot of the politicians being out here, a lot of churches are just actually crowd controls because people are not getting the knowledge that they need to move forward. You're just getting substandards of what you think, a subliminal message, just keeping you just totally lost. So keep up the great work. Keep sharing that knowledge. Appreciate you. Take care.
But send me an email. I'm easy to find on the computers. Willie Lynch 2013 at Yahoo. Just type Mark Sims. You see my email and whatnot. You know.
And, you know, and speaking of Jesse, you know, when King was assassinated, April 4th, 1968, all the planes, trains, highways, everything was shut down. Everything. There was no way that Jesse had got out of Memphis without some military help. And so we finally traced down the fact that Joseph Crittenden, who was in the military in Memphis, working with the National Guard, actually drove him in a military tank into the airport in Memphis. And in that, in that airport, he had a guy with him named Gary Masani, who was a priest that was studying to become a priest, but ended up with Jesse on the airplane. And so Gary Masani right now has been working at Operation Push for 40-something years. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows what he does. But if you call Operation Push and ask for Gary Masani, they would switch you to his voicemail. And so they flew, two people flew on a Delta airline jet from Memphis into Chicago. And so two people got out of Memphis that night when nobody was allowed to leave Memphis. And so the question remains, what does Jesse know after all of these years on the assassination of Martin King's death? What does he really know? I mean, because, you know, the thing that keeps coming up is, why did he leave Memphis? How did he leave Memphis? And when we finally got to Joseph Crittenden, he was a member of the Church of God in Christ, had a church on 39th Street, East on 39th Street. When we finally found him, through all the research, we missed him by 2 weeks. He had just died. And so we've been on the trail because we know that James Earl Ray didn't kill Martin King. Coretta Scott, on his deathbed, his children said, we know that. And so we still sitting around here celebrating King, but we don't know who killed him.
But the whole premise about killing King and bringing Reverend Jackson here to Chicago is, because Chicago's a special town. It ain't like, it ain't like Detroit and New York. It's a special town. That's why Barack Obama came here, okay? There's something about this place. The thing about it is that people need to understand that these diabolical forces bring people to keep us down. And keep us destabilized. And look at y'all, look at what y'all do. But people, I think the average person need to understand, when you see a person, you call me off camera, I talk the same way on camera, I just use foul language, that's about it. Maybe some nasty jokes. And other than that, it's the same thing, the same shtick. Where do you work at? Where do you make your money at? Where do you live? Are you married or single? Do you have a girlfriend? Where your children go to school? People on the ad, we see our preachers, politicians, we don't say, are you married or single? Do you have a girlfriend? Where do your children go to school? Where did they go to school? A lot of our leaders, we know nothing about them. People even on this set, they say, how did you make your money? Or you say, would you come here, did you come to Chicago from Memphis in 58? Or you born here like I was on the west side, right over here at Mount Sinai? We don't even question people's history to figure out if they real or not.
That's how a guy like Jim Allen comes in and says he's the leader of the almighty Vice Lord Nation.
And no one even asked.
And then nobody asked. And then he said in his blog that he sat under this minister named A.C. Richards But A.C. Rich has been dead for about 4 or 5 years, so who can we go ask? Somebody at that church. He said he was a youth pastor there. I mean, that's what he's saying on his blog. But I think the question that we need is that we need an economic cartel. We need a political cartel. We need these things that when these kinds of people come around us, I mean, here's a guy that just surfaces out of nowhere, and he's able to move in different circles, and people embrace him and bring him around. And then we find out that he's an undercover.
But you're supposed to ask the old question, who sent you?
Exactly.
Who sent you here?
Exactly.
When you show, who sent you?
Exactly. So you know nothing about the guy, like you said. You know, I mean, so how do you even allow somebody like that, you know, when these things happen? I mean, people know, I mean, where to find me, you know, on any given day.
I made a couple of phone calls, boom, you on the phone.
You know, I'm just saying, they know where I live. But here's the issue. The issue is, are we doing, in the daytime, are we doing the same thing at night?
Harold, I don't know if we got to call it. Hold on, Bill. We only got 15 more minutes left. If you became the alderman of the 9th Ward, where Meeks' church is at, and you kicked out Anthony Bill. Bill's been there a long time. I don't know how he survived. But if you were 9th Ward alderman, how would you transform the 9th Ward where the neighborhoods are safe, the neighborhoods are clean, and the schools are good to excellent? How would you do it?
I mean, first of all, I would not look for economic development. I would look for economic redevelopment, reconstruction. I mean, we need to look at what's in our communities. You know, I'm noticing now all around the city where I see vacant grocery stores, now the Arabs are starting to go in and open them up. I mean, they're not doing the little mom and pop stores now. Pete's Produce, he's moving around the city. 83rd and Stony Island, I mean, that store has been vacant forever. 63rd Street, 1 block east of King Drive, east of King Drive, been vacant forever. Now those stores are being worked on now. I see the emblem. And see, the food industry is very important. We spend between 30 and 40% on food in the black community.
Food, clothing, shelter.
And it's controlled only by 5 families. And so Trader Joe's, which goes into the white community, but they open Aldi's in our community. They own Aldi's. Jews, which own Save-A-Lot, will go into the white community, but bring Save-A-Lot to us. Kroger will go in the white community, but bring food for less for us. Whole Foods don't buy anything that travels fruit and vegetable-wise over 120 miles. And so if you go in Whole Foods, you see the white people eating healthy because they can afford to buy it. But you come in our community, you see the Save-A-Lots, the Food for Less, the Aldi stores, and all those are products that didn't make quality control. They just put another name on it. But the same people that make cereal, same people that make these things, they're the ones also making these non-name products and sending them into Aldi, Save-A-Lot, and Food for Less. And so our children, the AMA said by 5 years from now, 50% of all black children would be diabetic. If we know that, then why are we allowing our children to eat this processed food over and over again?